Hey mages, welcome to today's video. Today we've got a fun one. We are looking at the saltiest cards currently in Standard. Now these are my personal picks and what I'd love for you to do if I miss any out or any cards that you just think, cards that come down and you just absolutely hate them as soon as you see them, let me know in the comments below. I've got 10 cards here that I think really are the saltiest cards currently in Standard. So we're going to go in straight at number 10 and it's Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls, a new reprint going into Standard, and if you're a control mage, especially like me, you are going to absolutely detest this card because it makes all the creatures uncounterable. It's a really hard card to go around, especially if you're playing decks like mono blue, blue-white control, anything like that, dimmer control. You really do want to stop these heavy creature decks like the Dino decks and everything like that, putting all their creatures down mono whites, anything like that. And a quick Cavern of Souls, if it's down turn 1, basically can just be a quick scoop unless you've got something like your Field of Ruining. It's a really, really hard card. And, as a control mage, makes me salty. Coming in at number 9 is Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Same sort of thing as with Cavern of Souls. This can stop any type of, really slow down. Not stop, but slow down any types of deck that are playing spells. If you're a heavy creature deck, it's really not going to affect you. But this is a 2-1 with first strike as well for 2. So really good stats and ability. Can block early blockers as well. And it makes all the non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Now, it does affect, obviously, the player yourself as well. But this is normally played in like a mono-white deck where you're playing 30 plus creatures. It's not really going to affect you. You build your deck around it. And, it can really just shut down so many strategies. Your early ramp cards, your early counter spells, your early removal like cut down or anything like that. Thalia really is a strong card and in Standard, and yeah, turn 2 Thalia makes me salty as well. The Wandering Emperor. This was a card that was always touted about being banned when lots of bans were going around. It's just a very good card, and what it just does so many things. This is why, people don't like Wandering Emperor in my eyes, is that it can come down, they leave the 4 mana up, it can exile one of your creatures when it's tapped and attacking, which is, pretty annoying. It doesn't, any recursion decks, it just stops that straight away. It can come down and just make a blocker. It can come down and pump something. For 4 mana, it does a lot. And this is what, with the added ability of Flash, this is what gets people with this card. And this is why there was a lot of screaming for this one to be banned quite a while ago now. It seems to have simmered down a bit, but it still, it warrants being in the saltiest list as far as I'm concerned. Coming in at number 7 is Liliana of the Veil. No one likes, depleting their hands. This is what, turn 3, this can come down so early and can take over a game. If you've not got the strategy or the cards in hand to deal with this straight away, it can get to that -6 so quick. It can get rid of your creature. If you played your turn 2 creature, your opponent's coming in turn 3, it can get rid of that one creature that can obviously stop you. But basically, no one likes losing their cards. So discard, unless you're a reanimator deck, you probably like this. But for a lot of people that aren't, this is a very powerful 3 mana Planeswalker. People were worried when it came in Standard, and I don't think it's been terrible. But still, it brings up the salt levels when you see it, because you're going to have to start discarding cards. If it's in a control deck, they're going to be countering stuff coming down and getting that -6, and then it will separate your lands, because normally they've got nothing left on the field. You've done your removal, then Lily does the ultimate, and then it really does give you the ultimate salt. Coming in at number 6 is Halty Gin. Now, why is this a salty card? Because it is just basically one of the only win cons in mono blue. When you see this come down, you know what you're in for. If you're not a Cavern of Souls deck, you're going to be salty, because they know that this deck is going to counter everything you got, and the Halty Gin is going to be left there as that single creature really annoying you and just literally making all the instants and sorceries cost less. It's not even legendary. They can get multiple on the field, then basically in that deck, every card is going to cost 1 blue mana. It's a card that just wins games all by itself. The star just gets up so big. You're already starting off at the start with your draw spells and everything like that. So you're getting early cards into the graveyard, which will then build this power up. It has flying, the evasion. It only costs 3 mana as well, and it's just very, very hard to deal with. And a creature like this, a little flyer that can just win the game, it's very annoying because you just know how hard this is to remove, and it flies over and just beats you down and gives you salt like that whole deck really does. Coming at number 5 is White Sun's Twilight. Now, this is a very salty card because basically it's used as a win con, and it's a very frustrating win con. It's normally mixed in with cards like Witness the Future that just shuffle it back in, but it's just a very tedious, salty win con. When you know that your opponent is just, using this, no creatures or anything like that, this will just do a Wrath, gain them loads of life back, and then put those Phyrexian creatures into play that have Toxic 1. Toxic is very good. And Toxic only needs a certain amount of counters to win, a lot less than doing the 20 total. He only does 10, which is why this card is really, really annoying to me. It's just, a sorcery that's used as a win con that literally is a Wrath in effect as well, and then leaves these little mites that you just got to try and come back from. They sometimes only need 2 attacks, or if it's late game, 1 attack just to finish you with. White Sun's Twilight with the mass of Wraths in standard in white is just a salty, salty card. Now we're going to go to the top 4, and talking of Wraths, it's Farewell in at number 4. Oh, everyone hates Farewell. Opponents will sometimes just ramp up to this, and if not, even just a turn 6. It's because not only does it just destroy, so it's exiling stuff. It's not destroy, it's exile all artifacts. You can just choose 1 or more. Now, if it was choose 1, that maybe would have made the card less salty, but because it can choose 1 or more and just choose all, if you're a Planeswalker deck, you might be laughing, but if you've got artifacts, creatures, enchantments, you're using Reanimator, using your graveyard, anything like that, Farewell just resets that game, and then will lead into cards like our previous one, White Sun's Twilight, with, opponents will win the game with that. Farewell just always feels bad whenever you get played against it, and it just, you just build up your deck, you built your deck, and then just everything is exiled, and then you've got to start again, and against the type of decks that play Farewell, that is very, very hard. So now to the top 3, and in at number 3 is Atraxa. Atraxa can just be reanimated so quick, and it's a game winner. It just does so much. It's too much for me. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. It's a 7/7. The colours it costs to cast really doesn't matter because there's cards in standard that just reanimate this in quicker. You get to look at the top 10 cards as well and put stuff in hand. It is just hideous. I will literally rage quit sometimes. I'm sure everyone is the same. Let me know if you are. As soon as that Atraxa flips down, if you're playing any kind of deck that you've got, like a burn deck or anything like that, and this drops, the lifelink will just wipe you out if you can't finish them off, and then it's literally GG's. They fill the hand. The card has just given them everything that the opponent wants, and it's just another feel bad card. 7/7, flying V. It doesn't even tap, so it just goes in there, pecks away, and does 7 damage. They get that massive life swing. Anything it touches to block will kill with a Death Touch. And like I say, the value that this gives, not like 5 cards, 7 cards, it's 10 cards. Jeez, I'm salty when Atraxa gets dropped. Now we're going to get to the top 2, and at number 2, you either love it or hate it. It's Marite Mill. No one, there's a lot of people that hate Mill, which is why Jace is in there. It's a real, salty mechanic without a doubt. This can, shrink a opponent's creature down if it can, and then if not, it will just basically use that minus and just start milling X cards. You build up the loyalty on it, it gets bigger, and sometimes it can just literally take Jace and they will follow up with another Jace, minus X, and you are just milled out completely. Or you're down to minimal cards, so you literally just can't win the game because they use the Wraths in this type of deck, so they're using all the salty cards, the Farewells, the Depopulates, the White Sun's Twilight, anything like that. This type of deck will definitely have that in there, and it's just a win con that people get very salty about. People just hate Mill, which is why Jace is in at number 2. Number 1, you've probably guessed it, card that everyone wanted banned, apart from the people that played it a lot, which is Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Just value card. 4/5 for 4 mana. It's just, you know, every time you're playing this colour, the turn 4 Sheoldred will come down and your face will just drop. It will just make you mad because you know every time you draw a card, you're going to get drained. Whenever opponent draws a card, they're going to gain life. It's just a feel bad card. It gives death touch, so it's got great stats, 5 toughness, 4 power as well. It's just it is an amazing card, but it is a card that brings the sodium. It brings that salt out of everyone. I'm pretty sure the majority of people will be loving it when Sheoldred goes. They really thought that this was going to be banned when we had that big ban, when this was in question as well, when the Wandering Emperor, those sort of bans were being talked about a while ago. I just like it. I mean, the dies to removal is a thing with all creatures, obviously, but you still get the feel bad. If you know you can't deal with this, opponents got card drawing spells in blue or anything like that, they're going to gain a ton of life. And then if you're a card drawing deck, you're just in trouble because every time an opponent draws a card, you're going to lose 2 life. And then the Sheoldred literally doesn't even have to attack. That's what just even makes you mad. It doesn't even have to attack. It can just win there by just being on the battlefield. Amazing card, but yeah, salt personified. So there's 10 cards for you, 10 saltiest cards for me currently in standard. Let me know what you think. It was a fun video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to leave me comments of your saltiest cards currently in standard. If you'd like me to do other formats as well, let me know in the comments down below as well. And if you want to go the extra bit further, be sure to check out my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're going to your next F&M, I've got to shout out my sponsors, Cardmarket. You can get all your cards there. Go and check them out as well. Links below. Anyway, you lot take care and enjoy the rest of your day.